What's going on, guys, and welcome back to my AEW Collision audio review for January 13th, 2024. I am Graham G.S. Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great weekend so far. No thoughts on Battle of the Belts here, although I thought it was a fine show. We're not doing a formal review of that show, although it aired right afterward. Collision itself for January 13th, I actually thought was a really good show. I'm still on the fence about reviewing the show weekly because it doesn't feel nearly as significant usually compared to Dynamite. Rampage is a lost cause. I've never really reviewed that show here on YouTube as a standalone thing. Collision I have since June because at the start anyway, it kind of felt like it would be a separate show, equally as important as Dynamite. Kind of lost its way a little bit after that. After Punk left, the Continental Classic kind of restored the vibe a little bit for about a month. Then we went back to normal. And, we have no Continental Classic now, but I thought this was actually a really good show in front of a hot crowd in Virginia. We had some pretty good matches. Not a lot of significant storylines furthered here in a meaningful manner on this show. But again, I had a fun time with the show, so I guess we'll just take it week by week. If I have a chance to review the show, and if it's an important show, then I'll talk about it. If not, then we probably won't review it, so I'm still on the fence about that. But as far as this episode, we kicked off the night with Adam Copeland's open challenge for the second straight week. I don't know if this is going to be a regular thing on the show going forward for the interim. It kind of seems like they just want to keep the former Edge busy with these open challenges until they can challenge Christian Cage again for the AEW TNT Championship, probably at Revolution. They're not moving away from the feud just because Christian got the belt back from Adam after he had like a fucking 2-minute run at World's End a few weeks ago. Edge even said after this match, Christian Cage, basically what he said, I'm paraphrasing, I'm coming back after you. So his sights are still set on Christian and the TNT Championship. He's just being kept busy for now on this show with these matches, and I can't complain. The Griff Garrison one, I didn't really give a shit about. I know why they did that match. Copeland has said before in other interviews, he's high on Griff Garrison. He reminds him a lot of him earlier in his career. I just don't see it with Garrison. He seems like a good dude. He's perfectly fine in the ring. They have a million more people on this roster, and even on the Ring of Honor roster, which he's a part of as well, that are better than Griff Garrison, including Lee Moriarty, another guy that's largely relegated to Ring of Honor these days, is part of the Shane Taylor Promotions faction. It's really just them right now with Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty. But they work well together. I like the team. They're being built up right now. For what, I'm not sure, because the Ring of Honor tag team titles are never defended on Ring of Honor TV these days. But this was an awesome opportunity for him to go out there, showcase his skills, and I thought he made the most of it, being made to look really good in defeat here against Adam Copeland. They had a pretty good match, around 11 minutes, longer than the Griff Garrison match, probably twice as long. And in this case, I didn't have an issue with it because Lee Moriarty, to me, is far more interesting and exciting to watch than Griff Garrison. Again, being made to look credible in defeat, I like that. The outcome was never in doubt, but it gives Copeland a win, Moriarty a credibility boost, and gets him back on the show. Granted, they did the same thing with Moriarty when he faced CM Punk and unsuccessfully challenged him a few years ago, and then he disappeared from the show, resurfaced as part of the awful Firm faction about a year and a half ago, disappeared after that, kind of fell apart as well, ended up on ROH TV, now he's back on AEW TV with the whole, Copeland match here, probably disappearing again after this, but I thought it was an awesome opportunity to remind people how good Moriarty is. After that, we had the Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team Championships on the line. Mogul Embassy, Brian Cage, the Gates of Agony, defending against the Righteous and Lance Archer. Pretty good match here, actually, despite the fact it was two heel trios. A total random match, no real reason for this match to happen. I can't say that the Ring of Honor 6-Man tag titles are defended more on AEW TV than Ring of Honor TV, because we've had a lot. We had a lot of Ring of Honor World 6-Man Tag Team title matches on ROH TV last year. None that mattered, really, but the titles were defended on that show a fair amount. It seems like now they're being more defended on AEW TV since they got the belts back from Adam Page and the Bucks a few months ago. They were defended here, and they're going to be defended again on Wednesday's Dynamite when they take on Jay White and the Guns, who, if they win it, they're never defending those things on Ring of Honor TV. So, I want Jay White to win, but at the same time, there's no real point for these belts to exist when we already have AEW World Trios Championships. They're already defended on AEW television as well. AEW, Ring of Honor, they have way too many titles, but it is what it is. It was a good match, though. Archer and Righteous, I like the pairing. I've said that before. They just don't team up enough for the trio to matter. They teamed up that one time against Copeland, Sting, and Darby on Collision a few months ago, and then they disappeared, did Archer and the Righteous. They resurfaced, they won a match, they lost the 6-man, they're back here, did nothing to earn an opportunity. which makes Tony Khan, and this isn't a big deal, but after that Twitter rant that he went on earlier this week, and it was only 2 tweets, complaining about, oh, why does Jinder get a world championship opportunity? And he wasn't wrong about that. And he was talking about how there was outrage over Hook getting an AEW World Championship opportunity, maybe from a subsection of the fan base. That was not the overwhelming majority, and not a lot of people will bring this up. But again, you gotta fight, not fighting. It's not a matter of fighting fire with fire, but it's like the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, when you also have instances of your wrestlers not doing enough in storyline to earn opportunities at championships, you probably shouldn't be complaining about the same thing when it comes to other companies. WWE's guilty of it, and it's an issue there. I mean, on fucking SmackDown next week, Katana Chance and Kaden Carter defending the women's tag team titles against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, who have done nothing to earn an opportunity. They have barely been on the show for the past 6 months, but they're getting a rematch, even though WWE doesn't do the automatic rematch anymore. Whatever. AEW is guilty of the exact same thing. Archer and Righteous may have won 1 match on Rampage or on Ring of Honor TV a week or 2 ago. I mean, I know the Ring of Honor 6-man tag titles mean nothing, but you can't go on Twitter complaining about that sort of stuff when you have instance after instance, week after week, even a fucking Battle of the Belts. They had Preston Vance challenging for the International Championship. Why? Because he won an 8-man tag team match on a Wednesday that he picked up the pinfall win in? Like, who cares? Who gives a shit? The guy's barely on the show. Can't take him seriously as a threat, so again, he probably should shut his mouth with that whole thing. But as far as this thing goes, it was basically a warm-up for Cage and the Gates of Agony before they defend on Wednesday, as I said earlier, against Jay White and the Gun. So I'm looking forward to that match. Dustin Rhodes in action against Willie Mack. Pretty good match here. Dustin Rhodes still looks great. I love the music. I love the entrance music. I always have for the past 5 years that he's been in AEW. But I'm hoping, and I'm glad they're using Dustin Rhodes more. This also kind of served as a warm-up for his AEW TNT title opportunity. Again, Dustin really has not won a lot of matches at all on his own in the past number of months. He just got beat decisively by Swerve Strickland at World's End a few weeks ago. But he won this match here. Apparently that was enough to earn him an opportunity at the TNT title on Dynamite this coming week. Okay. But this was a quality contest. Good stuff from Rhodes and Willie Mack. Adam Page having his Virginia homecoming here. That was what it was billed as. And also his Collision in-ring debut. They mentioned that, and I'm thinking, I'm sure the guy's appeared on Collision before, but I find it hard to believe that he would not have wrestled on this show. I know, obviously, when Punk was on the program, he wouldn't have wrestled on there. But, like, Punk's been gone for months. Surely he would have wrestled on the show by now, and apparently not. I looked it up on Pro DB Fight or whatever it is. I use that more than, like, Cage Match, for example. But he has not wrestled on Collision until last night. And they had a really good match here, did Page and JD Drake. I don't know if he's from Virginia, but he's a really good hand. The Workhorsemen are great. They're a very talented team. The issue is that they never win. I mean, they win on a rare blue moon occasion in Ring of Honor, but that's about it. Although there was never any question who was winning here, I thought they went in there and had a great match. In the short time that they got, they really had a hell of a sprint, and JD Drake really had a standout showing in defeat, which was cool. Again, I don't expect them to capitalize on that, do more with him on his own coming out of this contest, but I thought they went in there and had a really fun match that the crowd was hot for. So Page is obviously well on his way to challenging for the AEW World Championship at some point, as seen on Dynamite this past week. So a lot like Swerve's win over Matt Sydal on Rampage, this also kind of propels him closer towards the championship in the not-too-distant future, probably a Revolution, if I had to take a guess. Speaking of in-ring debuts on Collision, Deonna Purrazzo making her in-ring debut for AEW, but really for the first time since being under contract to the company. Because she has wrestled for AEW before. Blink and you missed it, I know, but 2 years ago she wrestled in the main event of Dynamite, believe it or not, when she defended and lost the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship against Mercedes Martinez. That was when Deonna was in Impact, the belt was in Impact as Ring of Honor dissipated, and they wanted the belt on someone that was in AEW/Ring of Honor, so they put it on Mercedes Martinez. It was the main event that night. So she has wrestled in the company before, but this was her first match as part of AEW since joining the company and becoming a full member of the roster a week or 2 ago. They had a good match. I'm not a big Red Velvet fan, but I thought she was in there, held her own, had a fine showing. This was all about Purrazzo, though, showcasing her skills. Quick spotlight match. She wins. Exactly what it needed to be. Purrazzo's great. As I've said before, she's an amazing addition to that women's division in AEW. And based on the promo, they didn't air it on this show, I don't think. They aired it on their social media channels after the show was over. But it looks like they're kind of building towards her challenging Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship. Will she win it? Probably not, but the question there, as I've said elsewhere in the last week or so, it's more a matter of what they do with her beyond that point. When she loses to Tony, maybe they have a rematch and she loses that too. What do you do with Purrazzo from there? There's a lot of women that are built up for championship opportunities, but once they lose, we never see them again. Like, it's not like they're just demoted, because when you lose a championship match, like the Roman Reigns, for example, in WWE, there's a lot of people that have lost the Roman Reigns. What do you do with that person beyond that point? A lot of those people go on to be demoted, because you can't really get much higher in the division from the championship than the championship. But, like, do they just disappear from the show? Do they do a mid-card storyline? A lot of the women that go for the women's championship, whether it be the TBS title or the main women's championship, they just disappear. Taya Valkyrie being just an egregious example of that last year. She got a bunch of title shots, and then when she lost every single one of them, just disappeared. And now she's relegated to Ring of Honor TV. Again, a quality addition to that women's division over there. Athena's heading that division. She's doing a great job. But Valkyrie, at this point, to me, should be a part of AEW. Purrazzo as well. So I'm hoping when she inevitably, and I think inevitably, loses to Toni Storm and fails to win the championship, hopefully she's not banished to Rampage or worse yet, Ring of Honor. Been there, done that with her. She should be beyond that. Hook had a quick squash match against Kevin Matthews. Non-title match. The FTW champion went over quickly, decisively, as he should have. He's facing Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship, as I mentioned earlier, this Wednesday on Dynamite. And then in the main event, House of Black, represented by Malachi Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, taking on and beating the trio of FTR and Daniel Garcia. I like the pairing of Garcia with FTR a lot more than the pairing of him with like Matt Bernard and Angelo Parker, who play they play their roles well. And I know they're probably really close because they came up together maybe on the independent scene, but definitely in AEW. They were all hired together back in late 2021. I get it. Matt and Angelo, they bring the personality out of Garcia, and that's great. That's where the dancing came from as part of the whole JAS bullshit. But he really should be, if they want people to take him seriously, he should be aligned with people like FTR. They lost here, but I really like the pairing of Garcia with FTR. FTR do not have CM Punk anymore, so they kind of need a partner in the trios division. Not going for the trios titles necessarily, but for situations like this, I feel like he fit alongside them like a glove. And it was a great match. They got a ton of time. Everyone was made to look really, really good here. Win, loss, didn't really matter. Didn't really matter who won here, but House of Black did lose to FTR last week. It made more sense to me for them to win here, and they did. The babyfaces did stand tall, so the babyfaces won last week. FTR beat House of Black last week, and then following their loss, they stood tall attacking FTR in front of their family in North Carolina or whenever that show, or wherever that show emanated from. So it was kind of the reverse this week with House of Black going over, being laid out afterward by FTR and Garcia. And I think there was a video of Adam Copeland out there with FTR and Garcia doing the dumb dance. That might have been after Battle of the Belts was over. I'm not sure when that was, but that did not take place on camera because they went right into Battle of the Belts from there. This was a very good match and easily the best thing on the entire show. But even that being said, I thought it was one of the better collisions I've seen in the past month or two. And the Continental Classic had a lot to do with the show being better than it was prior to that point. But if they can put on more shows like this, and it really is a setup show for Dynamite, I mean, don't twist it. The more people that they lose that were exclusive to the show, like Andrade, like Punk, it's going to feel more like a glorified Rampage. But it is 2 hours. It does give them more opportunities to do matches you won't typically do on Wednesdays, make more people exclusive to Saturdays. We see that with FTR. We see that with House of Black, among other people. Not as many people as it was when Collision first started. They don't really have a hard brand split by any means. You see a lot of these people on Wednesdays as well. But I like the individuality that the show has from time to time. I felt like we got that this week with a very good show. Battle of the Belts was fine. Like I said, not a formal review of that show, but I thought that was fine. The street fight was what it was. The women's title match was fine. Orange Cassidy, Preston Vance, quality main event on that show. But I really enjoyed Collision specifically. I thought it was a strong 2 hours, airing opposite of TNA Hard to Kill, the New Japan show, Battle of the Valley, or whatever it was. I didn't watch that. I watched the TNA Hard to Kill pay-per-view, which was also very entertaining. So it was a great night for wrestling fans, to say the least. Thank you guys for checking out my review of the show. I appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Like I said earlier, not exactly sure whether we're going to be continuing the regular Collision reviews going forward. It really depends on the quality of the show, my ability, to review the show and whatnot, because if it's not convenient, then I won't review it. I know I won't be reviewing it in 2 weeks. I'll be away for Rumble weekend. Next week, I'm still not sure, so just keep an eye out for that. But until then, guys, have an awesome one. I'm Graham G. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.